everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Humans of Moving, a Supermove Original Series. Super excited for this one. We've got Landon Taylor, CEO of Snoball, in the house today. What's going on, Landon, man? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Ryan? Always good to be with you. Always good to, shoot the shit, as they say, right, and have some fun.
Hell yeah, man. I'm super excited for this one. Obviously I had the privilege of meeting you guys out at the Titan Retreat a ways back, and just some of the excitement behind Snowball and what you guys are doing and how you're doing it, just kind of, and just the energy that you and your partners kind of bring along with it, man. It caught me real quick. So before we kind of get rolling, we'd love to know, especially for the audience listening, basically, what is Snowball? Who is Snowball? If you don't mind kind of just diving into that a little bit, kind of a 10,000 foot view.
Yep.
Who are you guys, and what do you do, man?
Yeah, I love that question. So what Snowball does is we help companies, once they get a customer, we help companies get the most out of that customer in terms of referral business, reviews, video testimonials, right? So the way we kind of frame it is like this word of mouth flywheel, right? Of referrals and reviews and reputation. Most home service companies and movers are in that bucket. Is they're very good at what they do in terms of providing their service, but once the job is done, like, they're moving on to the next job, right? They don't have time to follow up with every customer, nurture that conversation to get those referrals and reviews, and neither do their reps, right? Mm-hmm. So we come in, it's a done for you platform that nurtures a conversation with each and every one of their customers to get those things over time. And we manage the referral program end to end, get reviews from the happy customers, right? We're not going to get them from the unhappy customers. So it's all done for you. It's as if they have an assistant or a department that's just running behind the scenes to get those things that matter for them.
That's awesome, and I can tell you, it's 12 plus years in the business. There was nothing better than kind of that word of mouth referral. So this is kind of sounds like, if I'm saying this right, this is where you guys really hone in and kind of accelerate that word of mouth piece. So along with that, I almost got to ask you, like, what in the hell, what were you guys thinking? Or what inspired you to create Snowball, and how the hell did the idea take shape? Like, there must have been some sort of trigger at some point that you're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, so it's funny as you say that. I think about, have you ever seen the show Goonies?
A little bit. My wife watches it quite a bit. I have a hard time sitting still for more than 2 hours, so you'll see me kind of getting a little edgy here on the podcast.
So for those listening to this that have seen this, they'll appreciate this scene. You've got it's the kid who's a little bit chubbier and bigger. They've got him in the basement. They're like, tell us everything. Tell us everything. And he starts off, he's like, well, in the second grade, he goes way back and like starts just riddling off all sorts of history. And the reason I mention that is this is kind of like a 10 plus year journey that's brought us to this point. And what I mean by that, let me explain, is my dad was a general contractor for 30 plus years. So I've seen somebody in the home service world, how good they are at what they do, but not having the marketing chops to grow their business through word of mouth. Then the previous two businesses I ran, starting in 2010 up until just recently, we're in customer acquisition, right? So we spent over the last 10 years $100+ million with Google on ads, right? So we spent a ton of money on paid search. We had an affiliate network, everything with generating leads and turning those into customers. We got really good at over the last 10 years. And then recently, with a site we own called bestcompany.com, we got really good with reviews and reputation. So package all that together, we came to a point about 2 years ago where Google had made some algorithm changes. The paid search side of things was becoming more of a black box. And we're like, this is frustrating. We don't control our own destiny. Like, we're at the mercy of this black box, and hopefully they just keep feeding us, right? So we came to this like aha moment of, we know customer acquisition, we know reviews and reputation. What's one area in home services where companies struggle to streamline and systematize? And let's take all the stuff that we know over the last 10 years and create a platform that just does it for them. So originally, Ryan, it's interesting. We created the first iteration of our product was to give the reps, or the movers or the sales reps, a tool to streamline their own self-gen efforts, right? Because the best person to like ask for a referral, ask for a review, is the person who is in the home, right? The rep. But
100%.
so we built a product. We spent like $250,000 to build a product for them, and we put it out to a number of reps. We quickly realized that yes, they want referrals, but they don't have the time to do all the follow up and nurturing and manage all of it. So they want it, but they don't have the time to do it. So that's when we're like, let's shift gears here and let's create a done for you platform that can still empower the reps to get those referrals and whatnot, but that they don't have to do the work. So
I guess to
that's
say
it.
simply put, you're automating that whole process,
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
as you know, in the move, especially the moving industry, and I'm sure other industries as well, is this AI and automation is just kind of taking the industry by storm, right? Everybody's trying to pop in, dive into AI. Everybody's trying to automate all the mundane tasks. So this fits right in with that. And I can say, as 12 plus year mover, like 100%, like, was I the best person at follow up? No. Was I the best at asking for referrals? No. Honestly, it was sometimes a pain in the ass to get 5-star reviews, because it was, hey, you're so in the day to day, you're working on this move, quoting this thing, have an account meeting here, where you guys, it's almost kind of that set it and forget it approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we use the best of both worlds, right? The human touch to make sure that it's, your customers feel like they're not talking to a robot, right? They are talking to a person. So we have a human in a seat at our office. They have the superpower of AI and automation to allow them to do what they do at scale, but there is a human in the loop. So that's an important piece of what we do. And then just all the blocking and tackling, right? Like a lot of companies, they'll stand up a referral program on their own. They'll make promises, hey, we'll pay you X if you give us Y. People will give referrals, but then maybe there's a leak, right, in the system, and the referrals are not honored, right? The referral payout. So now you take somebody who's an advocate who gave you a gift, they gave you a referral, they don't get their reward. Now they're a detractor, right? They're like, well, heck, I referred business, but I didn't hear anything, or I didn't get my reward. So we've seen that buttoning up all the blocking and tackling that goes into managing this is as important as the follow-up and nurturing. So we bring all that together. So it's like as easy, Ryan, when a company's like, hey, they raise their hand and say, I want to plug in. It's a 30-minute onboarding call. We're integrated with their CRM fully, sometimes within the call. Sometimes, sometimes it takes maybe an hour or two, but once they're then plugged in, like you said it perfectly, set it and forget it. It's running behind the scenes.
So implementation wise, it's not taking 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's basically boom, plug and play. Give me 30 minutes of your time, and we're basically going to skyrocket the word of mouth piece, referrals, 5-star reviews.
Yep, and we'll post those referral leads into your CRM. You close them, we'll get them paid out. You have a dashboard where you can come in and see the performance. You can see conversations that the Snowball system's having with each customer if you want. But yeah, it's very much like set it and forget it.
So I can't wait to dive. I got a whole bunch of questions for, I feel like, at this point here. But before I go dive into that, I've got to ask you, share the story behind the name Snowball. Like, where did the name come from? I'm sure it had to derive from something. I have an idea, because my whole thing is kind of that whole ball effect. You continue to grow that snowball, sort of say. So if you don't mind, man, Sharon, where did Snowball come from, the name?
Yeah, so when we used to be called Best Company for Business, right? We still on the bestcompany.com website. It's like it's a review site, listing site for businesses. And so it used to be the software. It was part of the Best Company platform called Best Company for Business, a horrible name. And once we built the referral piece of the engine, we said, let's now spin this out to its own standalone product. So it was about 2 years ago. And so we threw out to the people in the company, hey, what do you guys think? Right? Here's what the platform's going to do. What should be a name that represents what it does? Right? So we had names like Pollen was one of the names, so pollinate, right? And
I'm already starting to sneeze just thinking about that name.
We had Wildfire. Wildfire was one, like spread it like wildfire. And got to give credit to Alex Knight. He's our CRO. He came up with the name Snowball, and originally it was spelled Snowball with the W, and it just fits the whole snowball effect, right? Like, get something rolling down the mountain, build that momentum, and just produce over time. And so that's the story behind the name.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you didn't call it pollen. I can tell you that. I loved
it. we dodged a bullet, right?
I'm not don't have many allergies, but I just feel like, man, I'm, like I said, sneezing and breaking out in hives and here and all that stuff here. But so kind of a lot of misconceptions, right, when it comes to the word of mouth marketing. So, what would you say? I'm not even sure if this is the right question to ask, but I'm just gonna, some of the biggest misconceptions businesses have about word of mouth
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah, a lot of businesses. We actually were talking to a company just the other day who said, I don't want to bother my customers, right? I don't want to bombard them with messages. So I think a lot of companies, not a lot, but sometimes companies are a little averse to talking to their customers. They're worried maybe they'll unearth some really unhappy ones that will lead to negative reviews. So that's maybe one. Two, a lot of companies just think, hey, if I do a good job, the whole if I build it, they'll come, right? If I do a good job, I'll get referral business, right? That in some ways that happens, but if you're getting organic referral business, that means you're missing out on huge opportunity if you streamlined it to really get a lot more, right? Really tap into that oil reserve. Um, and so just the whole if I build it, they'll come misconception. And then
I don't mean to. I do
yeah,
kind of like what you said. I feel like a lot of companies too, and I was definitely in the boat where not necessarily scared to ask, but you don't necessarily know how well the move went if you're not that knee deep into the
yeah,
move. And
yeah,
I feel like companies just don't know where to start or how to start.
yeah. That's
Is
it.
that probably the big key piece? Is like, hey,
Yeah.
where do I start? Where do I begin? How do I organize this or systematize this
Yes.
so we make sure that if somebody does send a referral and we don't miss it? So I feel
Yeah.
like oftentimes, me as a mover, or me as a previous mover, I was just so focused on
Yeah.
securing the deal, providing that customer experience, making sure the move went flawlessly. But then it was like, okay, on to
Yes.
the next.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. You're managing your business. You're moving on to the next deal. So you nailed it, Ryan. This like everybody wants referrals, right? Everybody. Ask 100 people, all 100 would say I want referral business. But the heaviness of where they start and how they piece it together, and maybe the worry that hey, if I promise something to a customer, well, I've got to honor that. I've got to follow through. I've got to track it.
Yep.
I've got to make sure I pay them. So there's a heaviness of like managing and running the program, and then also the where to start, right? So a lot of companies just say, I want this, but I just don't know where to start, so I'm not going to, you know. So we come and say, listen, you don't have to run it. You don't have to piece it together. We've got the car, we've got the driver. We just need you to give us the keys, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll run this thing. So
Dude, love it. And this kind of ties into, you checked all the boxes. Actually, you took a lot of the questions that I had on the top of my head here already right out the door. You knocked those things right out. But when it comes to measuring success, I would
yeah,
say, because you hear a lot of things of, and I want to not going to compare you guys to the SEO side of the house or this or that. But you have a lot of people that are paying a lot of money for services, but they're having a hard time measuring. One example is SEO, right? So you might be able to do this or that, but hey, they end up coming in through a whole different channel. Or you've got postcards where you have QR codes and fancy numbers, but
yeah,
somebody goes over and Googles your company after they get a postcard, and you're like, well, shoot, did it come from the postcard or did it come
yeah.
from Google? Like, what have you? So I guess in your line, how does Snowball measure the success of a campaign, and what metrics should businesses really truly be focusing on?
Yeah, love the question. It's the nice thing about our platform is there is a direct line to ROI, right? So what are those things? How many referrals am I generating? How many of those are turning into sales? So in the platform, there's a dashboard that says here's how many people we're talking to, here's how many referrals we've gotten, here's how many of those that have turned into an appointment, how many turned into a sale, how much you paid out. So you can basically boil it down to what is my CAC,
Yeah.
effective CAC for this program. That's like the
For
tip
the
of the
ones that
spear.
don't know, CAC is customer acquisition cost. I know
Nailed it. Yep.
a lot of folks. I brought this up the other day, and they're like, "What is CAC?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean, what CAC is?" But
Good
yeah, the
call
ones
out.
that
Yeah.
don't know, they say how much money you spend on acquire that customer. So
Exactly. You nailed it. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. So the referral like performance is tip of the spear. And then, okay, how many reviews have we gotten? How many video testimonials, right? So how much social proofing collateral are we curating? And then the ancillary benefits. So those are more the like the qualitative, or sorry, quantitative. The qualitative is like, okay, do we have a program now that we can promote, right? Whether we're talking to a real estate agent, whether we're talking to a customer, whether we're promoting on our website, do we have like an underlining program that we know is going to be managed and handled for us that we can promote. You've got the customer loyalty, giving the customers another reason for you to keep top of mind. One thing we see a lot in the moving business or moving industry, Ryan, is repeat business from the conversations we're having with customers about the referral program. So, for example, we reach out to when a company launches, we'll reach out to their past customers like over 2, 3, 4 years, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes when we reach out, they'll ask, "Hey, actually, I don't have anybody to refer, but I'm looking to move here in a month. Can I refer myself?" And it'll just kind of unearth that repeat business, right, of past customers.
You, you
So
got me
just staying
thinking.
top of mind. Yeah.
You got me thinking. I have you pause there for a second. So, yeah, I might not have heard you right, but this would be mind blowing if this is the case. So, if I say I just joined your program, right,
Yep.
or just signed up with Snowball, on average, I do about 5 to 5,500 moves per year.
Yep.
Can I upload or basically give you all of, say, 15, 20,000 moves that I've done over the past 3.5 years or so?
Yes.
And then have you guys kind of start,
Yes. And we're finding, Ryan, the what we call the legacy customers, right? The older they are, this is not true in other industries, but in moving it is. The older they are, we're seeing a lot of repeat business, and performance is pretty good. Because basically it's like you're probably out of sight, out of mind, right? For them, if it's been years.
Yeah.
But by reaching out, they're like, "Oh yeah, we remember them now." And "Oh yeah, I'm looking to move," or "My neighbor's looking to move," or whatever. So yeah, we reach out as far back as you want to go to all.
Damn.
Now
Yeah,
here's
that's
one thing, maybe on that note, Ryan, one thing that people bring up when they're like, "Hey, reaching out to old customers," is, "Oh, what if there's some negative Nancy's in there?" Right? I don't want to poke the bee's nest, right? So the beautiful thing about the way we approach it is we'll reach out first to introduce the referral program. And in the process of doing that, when people reply, if they hate the company, they'll say, "I'll never refer you," right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
what we've done is we haven't let that get to a review yet. So we lead with the referral introduction. If they indicate in any way, shape, or form they're happy, and the way that kind of presents itself is most people will say like, "Hey, I can't think of anyone now, but I'll keep you in mind." We then ask a review from the happy ones, the ones who indicate that they're an advocate of the company. So we're only going to get you the positive reviews. You don't have to be worried about, by asking thousands of past customers, it's going to bring up all these negative reviews because of the sequence of when we ask for a review.
Wow. You kind of curbing that there a little bit. So if it starts to seem like it's going to go in one direction, that's when you guys can really,
Yeah,
hey, we're not going to send the referral. We're not going to basically do the 5-star review. We're not going to this. So
exactly.
really, you're capturing all the beauty there. I love this. Now, I got to ask you, you guys are probably in more industries than just the moving industry, I would assume, right? I can't imagine you started this and said, "I'm diving in head first moving." This was kind of just a transition to the moving side. I always love hearing kind of customer stories, and obviously I know we didn't prep for this call by any means, so I understand if you don't have a potential piece here, or maybe you do, but leaving the names, organizations out of the equation. Is there a company that, and there's probably multiple, right? But a company that saw like ridiculous transformative growth after adopting Snowball, and kind of any highlights or top 3 nuggets?
So for sure. So if you go to snowball.com, there's a success stories section of the site, and so the names there we can mention because they're already public. But JK Moving was, solar's big for us, remodeling, HVAC, other home service industries. JK Moving was the first company in moving that we talked to. This was, gosh, maybe going on almost a year now. And to be honest with you, like I wasn't like, "Hey, this moving industry is going to be gangbuster," right? Because our platform is need to be something that's referable. It's happens fairly frequently. So we launched with JK Moving, knocked it out of the park, right? And that success story and case studies on our website outlines all the details, has a video, all that stuff.
You started with one of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
Anytime JK comes up, the quality is going to be there. The consistent. I mean, shoot, they move the president in and out, for goodness sakes, right?
Ken Cohen is phenomenal, right? Ken Cohen was our point of contact, and anybody listening to this, if they're like, "Hey, I want to, is this legit or not?" Just reach out to Ken, right? He'll be able to tell you. So
Very
once we had that
tech-forward
case,
guy.
What's that?
Very tech-forward guy. I see him on LinkedIn all the time, and it's just like some of the platforms and programs he's I'm just like, man, I never even heard of this, but
Yeah.
they're diving in head first, feet first, and I love following the JK story. I actually had Michelle Cordero on the podcast a while back, who
Oh, cool.
kind of runs their marketing, does an amazing job with it, and just anyone that I've been in contact with over at JK has just been an absolute friggin' pleasure to work with. So kudos to JK. You guys are absolutely paving the way. So
that's awesome, and very warranted. Like they're also like, they approach things in the way of, they have their community farm stuff that they do, and philanthropic approach, and anyway, just a great team to a man over there. And so anyway, we launched with JK, good results, case study. Like, okay, there might be something here. So then we got in touch with New City Moving, Brian Slater. And same thing, launched, knocked out of the park. That case study's out on our website. So then we went to the Moving Titans retreat, and it's just quickly grown, and we're seeing results across the board. And for some companies, maybe they're too small, or there's other things. It's not going to work for everybody. But the way we set it up, Ryan, is like, plug in, let's run it for 2 months, let's test drive this thing.
Yeah.
And if it works, before you commit long term, we want to make sure it works for you. So we make it so it's not like we're going to try to force you into a long-term contract right out of the gates. Like, that's not how we work. But anyway, so go to our website. It's on the success stories portion of the page. That's where we outline those case studies.
Awesome. Now, so potentially it could be a company too small. There's probably not a company that's too large. So for the ones that are listening, if moving company and they're saying, man, am I going to be a good fit for these guys? Or do I produce the volume of moves where I'm actually going to start seeing some success? What would you say kind of like your main ICP, your ideal customer profile for the ones that are listening to say, hey, man, I love what I'm hearing, but should I reach out if I only have 3 trucks and I'm only doing 20 moves a month, or whatever the case is? So what would you say is a good kind of entry point where they can leverage Snowball, that they'll actually start getting traction? Because in my mind, if I've got 1 truck and I'm doing 5 moves a month, I'm probably going to get some traction, but nowhere near a company that's doing 5,000 to 10,000 moves a year, right? Or even a company that's doing 2,000 moves a year. So I guess what would be that kind of ICP that ideally you'd say, hey, you're going to see the most traction if you're at this stage of the game in your business?
Yeah, it's we price the contract, the go forward contract after the 2 months according to their size, right? Because our variable costs are based on how many customers we're talking to. So we'll they're not gonna have to square peg into a round hole type thing. Like, we'll price it to where they're at. But in terms of the lowest, I'd say 10-ish jobs a month, 15. But if I were a business owner who's doing the 5 jobs a month, I would look at it and say, I want to set the foundation right now for our referral program. So that even though it might be a slower build up to get that snowball effect rolling, I want to have the foundation from day one. And so our costs will never be more than, unless you're really big, than like the cost of like a part-time intern, right?
Oh, shoot.
So it's the same idea of like going and saying, okay, I'm going to go get a part-time intern to do all this stuff, referrals, reviews, reputation for me. And so anyway, I would say, even those smaller ones, and we do have a couple that are in the 5 to 10, let's still talk, right? And let's just see if it's a fit.
Yeah. I mean, my gosh, if you're running 1 truck, you should be doing more than 10 moves a month.
Yeah.
I would hope. I mean, especially, you got 8 days on a work week, I always like to say. But no, even just capturing 3, 4, I mean, you easily going to hit 10 moves. So why not get on the program early, grow with you guys as well, and start reaping some of the benefits there. So I want to kind of switch gears a little bit to kind of trends and the future of marketing. Because obviously the big trend for us, or not trend, the trend in this industry is the AI automation. Obviously Supermove is kind of really paving the way when it comes to that, between an AI sales co-pilot, as well as all the different ridiculous automations that we have kind of in the system. That's the hot point, the hot key. That seems to be the trend that I don't see going away. I almost don't even want to call it a trend. It's going to be a non-negotiable as I see this, as the industry continues to kind of grow. But what trends are you seeing in the referral and reputation marketing? And how is Snowball making sure that they stay ahead of all of those?
Yeah, very smart. Supermove, what you just mentioned, is on that forefront, right? And I think bringing a huge value to an industry that's going to reap the rewards of that. And so major props to Supermove there. And AI is going to get better and better and better. I think the value of, and this is a little bit counterintuitive, but the value of the human in the loop with AI, I think will be an important component,
Yep.
right? And what I mean by that is consumers are going to get bombarded with automation and AI. The more it's personalized, the more consumers will appreciate it and feel like they're not just talking to a robot and a machine.
100%.
So, Supermove is on the forefront of this. And, Snowball, same thing. Like, how do we leverage AI and automation while also keeping that human in the loop to make sure the experience for the homeowner is still at top notch? The other kind of trends is the holistic approach to word of mouth. So referrals, reviews, tip of the spear, but then also what are you doing now to then disseminate all of that across the buyer journey to social proof your business? So everything from like, I'm going to connect customer A with customer C who's looking to buy from us and allow them to kind of talk, right? Maybe there's like this community groundswell. How do you promote reviews on your website or on third-party listing sites? So just how do you get that social proofing from your happy customers out to the world to enhance the buyer journey so you can convert more prospects into customers? So that's going to evolve more and more. I just see a world where right now people, when they're looking to find a moving company, they might go to Google and say, who is the best moving company? You get all sorts of sites will show up, right? It's going to get to a place where they're going to be able to go to their network and say, who's the best moving company, and their friends, the social proofing will inform who they should go with directly, and they don't have to go to Google to find that.
That's awesome. No, I love, again, thanks for the Supermove shout out there. I know it's been super inspiring being on this team here, watching these guys try to pave the way. Because again, being in seat for as long as I have, I just felt like we were a very underserved industry when it came to the tools and tricks and things that we needed.
Yeah, right. And Ryan, maybe one quick just last note there, and you didn't ask me to say this, and you didn't know I was going to say this, but there was and I can't remember who it was, but I was talking to somebody who's a moving veteran in the space, and I was asking them, hey, who is the CRM that we should bet on? Who's that horse, right? That I should bet on if I were looking to bet on a CRM? And they said Supermove, right? For the reasons you mentioned, right? Like forward thinking, tech savvy, have moving experience themselves, right? Like check the boxes, right? All of them. So anyway, that's one person that mentioned that, but they've got a lot of experience in the space, and that's the feeling I've gotten interacting with you and your team.
No, it's awesome. I appreciate that. And yeah, I didn't pay you to say that. But man, I know I've been bombarding you with questions over here, but like I said, just so interesting to learn. It's one of the things I really love about my role here at Supermove is getting to meet really, really awesome people, and seeing what they get to do and how they get to continue to improve this industry. So I like to, because we're kind of getting up close to the time frame here. I don't want to keep you too far away because I know you got more snowballs to create here, but. Practical tips for our listeners here. I know anytime, at least in this industry, I've seen it 100 plus times. Inserting a new technology, inserting new processes, change management is difficult anywhere, but I always find that change management in this industry, I feel like it's trying to get somebody to go from the Atari to the PS5. Like
yes.
they can't. Some of us are still leveraging typewriters, for goodness sake. So. I guess, what do you think? What's the first step a business should take if they want to integrate Snowball, or even if they want to improve their word of mouth marketing today? So, say they necessarily aren't ready for Snowball, or they're hesitant. What are some practical pieces that our listeners can do for the word of mouth marketing? But then, kind of the second prong piece to that is if they want to rock with you guys, like what's the first step?
Yeah, I would say for any of your listeners, like, feel free to reach out to me over LinkedIn, email. You can text me, right? And a couple things. If Snowball's not the right fit, we're not gonna push it. But I think there's some valuable tips. Basically, what we could do is say, okay, where are you at today, and give you some specific applicable steps to how you can level up your own efforts right now. Like we have like a DIY referral marketing guide, right? Some things to think about and approaches But I'd be happy to have those calls with your listeners. And then we could also, tell you what the option is for Snowball if and when that works for you. But think about it this way: if you're kind of visualized, if you needed a computer and you had one option where you had to buy all the components and it was up to you to put together the computer, right? Which is what a lot of these softwares are. It's like, okay, I got to plug in all these things to make it work.
Yep.
You're not going to do it. It's going to be heavy. You're not going to have the time, the energy, compared to if you had a computer delivered to your door with a cord and you simply just need to plug it into the wall and you're off and running. That's what Snowball is, right? We're not hey, here's all the components, you now go put it together and then run it. We come with the thing ready to plug in, and then we're going to run it for you. So let's just have a conversation. We can show you what it's about, get under the hood of what it looks like. And then if nothing else, we can give you some tips. I'd be happy to give you some tips on anything that we've learned that might be helpful.
Dude, that's awesome. So basically, give you a shout.
Yeah.
Spend 25, 30 minutes, have a little powwow, plug it in, set it, forget it, watch your reviews, watch this word of mouth marketing just absolutely take hold. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man. Simple, easy. I'm loving every aspect about it. But now we're getting into the hard part here as we're getting towards the end of the show. Got a couple hot seat questions for you. And like I said, you don't have a choice. You've got to, that's right. You better answer these things, right? So they're weird, wonky questions. I do at every end of every episode just to kind of lighten things up and just kind of show people like, hey, who we are as humans outside of Snowball, outside of Supermove, right? We're all just normal people, right? But ready for question one?
Let's go.
If you had to choose one song to play every time you entered a room, what would it be and why? Basically, what is your theme song when you pull up into a room?
Dude, the one that comes to mind when you say that is Eye of the Tiger, the old Rocky sound. I've got a visual, when I played football in high school, riding the bus from our school to our crosstown rival, and that pumping over the speaker. And I don't know if that was probably the moment that it just like ingrained itself into my soul of like a pump up. It's an oldie, right? But a goodie is Eye of the Tiger. With the Rocky
every time I hear that song, I just want to run up like 15 flights of stairs and then like pass out and get some oxygen. Yeah, kind of throw the hands around a little bit. Oh man, that's awesome. I'm not going to tell you what my song is by any means, because you're going to laugh at me, and it changes like all the time. But
same, and especially with my kids now listening to all sorts of different music, I'm bouncing around like a rabbit, man. It's one week this, it's another week that. So I'm with you.
Dude, I'd say I was never a Swiftie fan. I might just ruin every listener I have here, but I don't know what it is, but I feel like that Taylor Swift "Shake It Off" song, man. Every time I walk in, I'm just kind of like, here we go. Supermove the Disruptor coming in here. It's either you're absolutely loving us or you're like, here are those guys again. So
hey, one of two things just happened when you said that. Your listenership just went way up, or it just plummeted. Right?
Well, I guess the best part is that, I don't have a whole ton of listeners as it is, so I can't get any worse than this. It's only up from here, baby, right? Second question, what is your favorite smell?
My wife's perfume. My wife's perfume.
See, I love, this is going to sound really, really weird, man, but you got those, when they're repaving highways, that fresh asphalt smell that is probably like the cause of cancer or whatever the case is. Like, I get behind that. Like, I will slow it down the highway, roll the windows down. I'm just like, give me that asphalt, please.
Get on the side of the road. You just get on your knees and just sniffing away. Hey, one other one actually, as you mentioned, as going back to playing football and sports, is the smell of grass on a Friday night, clean cut grass in like on a fall night or late summer night. Oof. That smell is good.
I got my smells, but I even like when you're pumping gas, like 87 octane. Like I think all my smells are just horrible. It's gas, it's asphalt, like oils. I like the smell of colognes and things like that. But and a new car smell. Who doesn't like you pop open that brand new Tahoe or something,
that's true.
Open that door on a summer day, and you're like,
a new shoe, right? A new shoe. Hey, I'm going to send you for Christmas, dude. I'm going to send you just a block of like nice fresh cement.
Dude, now you got me there. I need to smell a pair of shoes. Like I forgot what a new pair of shoes smells like. Oh man! And the last question here, my God, man, I appreciate it for this one. If you had to choose one food to eat for the rest of your life, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, What is it, my man? What are you eating?
Oh man, dude, I'm a sucker. Maybe it's just because I had this just like the other night. I'm a sucker for just a nice, juicy chicken tender, fried chicken tender. That's it. With a nice dip, I've got to have a nice dip, a nice sauce. So if you put those two together, dude, I'm good.
Well, I get the difference between a chicken tender and a nugget. Is it just in size?
Okay, have you been talking to Alex, our CRO? He gives me the
No.
hardest time. He's a bone-in guy. I'm a bone-out, boneless. And he gives me the hardest time. He's like, dude, you obviously have kids, Landon, because that's basically a chicken nugget.
Yeah, it's just kind of a glorified chicken nugget, right? Just
You and Alex, dude, he can't see this. You can't send this to him because he's going to use this as ammo, man. He gives
well,
me
he
the
probably
hardest
won't
time.
watch anyway, right? So
There you
we'll
go.
see. Now he knows I like Taylor Swift, but no, I'd have to say pizza for me. Like I'm a pizza
Yeah, oh,
connoisseur.
pizza. Yeah,
Whether it's a good gas station pizza or you're talking some pizza from Connecticut or
yeah.
New York City. I could eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
You know what the close second for me is a nice, thick, meaty sub at the sub shop down the road. That's just you get a nice, thick, meaty sub.
Ooh,
Maybe.
you're speaking my language, man. I got a
I
sub
know.
shop right down the
I
road.
know. That's where I was going. I was trying.
Oh, okay. You're just trying to. Oh, see, I was
No, but
thinking
it is
maybe
true though. It is true. Whether it's Jersey Mike's or the sub shop that Ryan owns, either way, you throw a bunch of meat on that sucker.
it's all about how much meat you meat, toppings, keeping it fresh,
Yeah.
fresh bread, fresh sliced meat every single day. Plug in the sub shop.
Yep.
Lamar Heights, New York, everybody. If you haven't been there yet, no, I'm just kidding. But no, man. Anytime, the next time you are in town, you let me know.
I'm coming
That
for sure.
Big juicy meaty sub, all yours. If you don't like it, I'll make sure I have some chicken tendies on.